And she got heels about yay high, shorts that they were tight, and they were short, and a top that, and I'm like, I almost said, ma'am, do you need me to take you to the store to buy you some clothes? Why? She was trying to show off herself. So what I'd say is she must not think she has much of a mind, because she certainly thinks that the only thing people want to look at is her body. And I'm sitting there saying, I don't want to look at her body. Now, I'm just trying to tell you, it's obvious that you ought not do this. Now, I say that just in an example to show that I can show you why God's against it. But if that young lady was to walk in here and say, preacher, can I talk to you? I've got some questions about the Lord. I would say, Miss Melissa, come over here and we want to have a talk with this young lady. And you know what I would not be talking to her about? Her dress standards. You know why? Because her dress standards are not her problem. If she gets right with the Lord, then all of a sudden I'm going to let God start working on some of that. And as the door opens, I'm going to deal with that. Now, if she comes in here after she gets saved or on a regular basis and she's doing that, you don't want to start. I would have to say, Miss Melissa, I hate to have to do this to you, but this is a very delicate area that women have to deal with women. And you say, well, your problem, you're a pervert. No, my problem's I'm a man. Now that's normal. That's natural. But it breaks my heart because of the fact that if she doesn't realize that she's doing that, she's putting herself out there like that, then what in the world is wrong with her? She's not in her right mind. She needs the Lord. It doesn't make me angry that women dress like that. It breaks my heart. Because I don't understand why somebody so precious in God's eyes would dress that way. Now I say all that to get you to understand liberty. You have liberty, but there are limits to liberty. But I don't bring people under bondage to the law. Why? Because God does that. See, the Bible tells us all things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful, but I will not be brought under the power of any. See, you find two sides to this thing. He tells us, let me find that verse right there, because I want us to see this. There it is. In 1 Corinthians chapter 10, he says, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. So that word edify, y'all know what an edifice is? It's a building. All things don't build me up in the most holy faith. There's some things out there that are lawful that won't build you up. Alright? Is it lawful to watch football? But how is it building you up in your walk with God? I could use baseball, any of the sports. I could use television shows. All things are lawful. But are they building me up? I've got liberty to do these things. But are they building me up? You've got to be careful in our lives that we do not spend all of our times on things that are not building us up. I'm not saying throw sports out of your life. I'm not saying never watch a TV show. I'm not saying that you can't go to this or go to there. I'm saying, though it's lawful, does it build you up in the faith? Is it helping you go on with God? Is it helping me go on with God? Or should I limit how much of this I allow in my life? Now there's some things, all things are lawful. Am I right? Judicially, all things are lawful. There's some things that are just sinful in and of themselves. Now, so you got to worry about where you're drawing the line on things. What are you allowing into your mind? What are you allowing into your life? Though it's lawful. He tells us, let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. Same verses here. So now he's saying, don't look at what you do, but look at how it affects others around you. Seek somebody else's benefit. Wow. What would benefit me most? What would benefit them most? The Apostle Paul said, I have a desire to depart and be with Christ, which is far better. He said, but it's more needful I be here to stay with you. He said, I'm not looking for my own, what's best for me. I'm ready to go, head out to glory, but it's more needful that I stay with you. He's not looking for his own benefit, but for the benefit of others. So how do you figure this thing out? All things are lawful, but all things edify not. Is it helping me out? What about, is it helping others out in their growing in the Lord? So we find that God is dealing with this, and then He deals with it in a specific. He says, whatsoever is sold in shambles, that eat, asking no question for caution's sake, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Now He's dealing with this thing in the context of meats that are offered to idols. There are those out there, young, weaker brethren, who would say, don't eat meats that are offered to idols. Why? Because at that time, they had come out of a lot of idolatry. And they'd make sacrifices. And as they make now, and then make their sacrifices to their gods in these places. But they'd take the heathen did this. They took their best animals and sacrificed them to their God. And then God says, you give me these things that are broken up. That's a different book, but I mean, He deals. We give them the last fruit. Sometimes we're supposed to give them first fruit. The heathen gave the best they had, sacrificed them to their God. After they sacrificed them, took them out of their temples, and they sold the meat on the market. And you know what? If it was the best meat, guess what? It'd be the best when you buy it. So here you are buying some meat, but it was offered, sacrificed to idols. So this person over here gets saved out of idol worship and says, you can't eat meat that's sacrificed to idols. And you're saying, we know there's no other God but the true God. And he's saying, no, but sacrificed to idols. Man, it's the best meat out there. But it was sacrificed to idols. And guess what? If you eat that meat that's sacrificed to idols, it might not do a thing to you physically. It might be the best out there. It might taste great. But you have just destroyed this one who's saying, I thought that we were against idolatry. And yet, he doesn't care whether we worship idols or not. He'll take, matter of fact, he waits for them to bring the meat from the temple because that's been offered to idols. That's what he buys. He says, I'm buying the best, and I'm buying, so the meat that's offered to idols, that's the best, and guess what? I'm going to buy that. So he's and this young baby Christ, he's partaking in their sin. Now you and me might be saying, no, all we're doing is trying to get good meat. You see how this can happen? I've got friends who refuse to go to a place that serves alcohol. Or a restaurant. You know what I will never do with them? I will never take them to a place that serves alcohol at a restaurant. Now, I don't say anything to them about going to Kroger or Walmart or even Aldi's, or I don't know any other place you can buy groceries in this town. Mickey's. Mickey's. Does Mickey's sell alcohol? All right. I don't say anything about them going to Mickey's, Walmart, Kroger, or Aldi's. That's where they go buy the groceries. You know why? Because they'll realize sometime. Listen, I draw my lines. I live my lines. But if they find themselves to be hypocritical, guess what? That's them. I'm not beating them up for it. Why? Because it's a good line to draw. It's not hurting anything. But when they start jumping on me because somebody invites me to a restaurant and it's a nice looking restaurant, I walk in and I sit down and eat, I'll tell it to you this way. First time I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, I did not know that they served alcohol there. I didn't know it was a bar. Didn't even know it looked. I didn't know it was a sports bar or anything like that type environment. I was invited to go to Buffalo Wild Wings. I walked in and I sat down. I walked in, I said, it doesn't look like a normal restaurant. Started seeing TVs up there and all over the place, and sat down and I saw the first thing the lady asked me, when she asked me, the lady asked me if I wanted a beer or something, and I'm like, oh no. I was like, now I had a friend of mine who was invited to go with us. I called up his phone number and said, please don't come. I left it on the voice or answering machine because I didn't want him to show up there. Please don't show up here. He won't even go to a bowling alley because bowling alleys serve beer. I didn't even know bowling alleys served beer, but I found that out from him. I mean, he won't. This guy's like that. And I'm like, please don't come here. What I'm trying to tell you is, I didn't want to offend him. But now, if he would have got on me and started jumping all over me about that, and being he's not just a babe in Christ, he's been at this thing for a while, I looked at him and said, where do you buy groceries at, you outfit? Why? Because he's not a babe. If he would have been, the guy's been saved longer than I have. If he would have been a babe, I'd have just sit there. Yes, okay, I'm sorry. I'll try not to go to those places. And give him a chance to grow a little bit. And realize, or not. Just grow in the idea of not beating me up for going someplace. Because they knowing I'm not going there to get that stuff. I'm going there because I was invited and somebody else was buying me. I don't even like the word, but they were naked wings. That means they don't have any bread anymore. And salad. And iced tea too. I mean, somebody was inviting me and I was trying to be a friend of this person. Why would I offend this one? I didn't want to offend anybody. I'm just trying to tell you, see, you got this thing of our liberties. Sometimes we got to come to the place where we say, okay, I'm not doing this. Why? Not because I've got a problem with it, but because somebody else has a problem. I'm closing. I got a moment to close. I'm going to close with this thought. Last year, my daughter impressed me. You impressed me more than this once a year. There was a person who had an issue with something my daughter was wearing. And voiced it. And I said, now I didn't hear them voice it. I heard it because they voiced it to my wife. And was upset with me because I'd let my daughter wear this. And so my wife tells me, and I'm like, okay, well, all right, well, did you tell the people to come to me? She says, I did. I said, are they coming to me? Well, I know we're pastors, how the pastor feels. That's fine. They didn't come to me. And my daughter comes to me and says, Daddy, I won't wear that to church again. If it's going to cause people to leave. Here's a person who's been saved, supposedly, for years and years and years, telling me, or telling my family, that there's an issue. And my thing, I told my wife, I said, where's the Bible verse on that they're talking about this issue at? Where's the Bible verse? And the person told my wife, well, psychologist. Is that not what they said? I read a study. And I'm like, so they're now into psychology instead of Bible. But all this being said, my daughter comes to me and says, I don't want to offend anybody and cause somebody to leave because of my liberty. I would rather give up my liberty than lose people. You know what I said? Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Because they don't have a Bible verse or anything to go with that. Therefore, they're going to find something else. They would always find something else. I said, if they'd have been a babe in Christ, and I was impressed with my daughter. Let me say that, because my daughter was saying, I'm willing to give it up. I don't see a problem with it, but I'm willing to give it up. I'm like, sometimes it's that they've got such a view of control. Same people ask whether I carry a weapon to church. And I said, I'm going to label. Well, I didn't say this. I told my wife, because I didn't say anything. But I asked my wife, I'm going to label a shotgun over the pulpit. I said, I'm not proficient with a handgun. I said, if I was proficient and thought I could pull one out and protect people with it instead of hurting people with it, I said it wouldn't bother me one bit. I'm not against it. But I said, you think it'd be intimidating to lay my shotgun over that pulpit? And I said, leave it like sitting under the pulpit when we walk away, and I'm gonna keep kids from running up and down or walking around the church. It'd be irresponsible. If anybody's watching online saying you can go shoot that church up because pastor doesn't care. No, everybody else cares. That's for people online. All right, I don't know who cares. It doesn't care. Don't ask. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But they find a reason. They're always there's one crowd's always looking for something. But the babes, they're really serious about this. I don't understand. It's not about control. It's not about coming under my subjection to their things. It's about, I don't understand this. And we got to give them time to grow. Much. And so our liberties we have in Christ. But our liberties are limited by the love of God, which constrains us to live for God, and by the love for the brethren, which constrains us to where we're saying, I don't want to offend them. I'd hate to offend them. Does that make sense? But we do have liberty in Christ. Father, I pray you'd help us to honor thee and worship thee, both in spirit and in truth. And we'll thank you for what you do in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, you are at liberty.